Welcome back, friends, to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the cheapest survival combo axe tool on Amazon. You probably remember last month we tested the most expensive, the Combar, at a whopping $600. This is essentially the same thing, just in a much less expensive package. You could actually have 35 of these for the price of one Combar. So they claim, well, let's see, what's the name? It's a yes for all. I'm assuming in Chinese that means it's very capable. Now, looking at this, it has a very similar, or it resembles very much like a Fisker's or a Gerber style axe. I'm sure that's purely coincidental because our Chinese friends wouldn't, well, they wouldn't copy Western design, would they? Of course not. Comes with an integrated axe sheath right there with a handle on it, as well as a belt loop. You can see there that it's turned the wrong way, and that was probably done for shipping. You could simply loosen that Torx, turn it up, and you do have a pretty good belt loop there that's got a hook on the bottom, so good luck getting that one off, right? So that's kind of nice. Also, well, they say that there's 4 tools in here, I guess. So the first one here is there is an integrated fire steel. Now, that's a very small fire steel. Whether or not we can get a fire going with this, we'll find out, but it's pretty clever the way it's worked into the case there. Kind of it reminds me of kind of a bolt action, kind of a bolt action design right there. It seems to be fit tight. I don't see why that would come out. The sheath is, as you see it, there's a pretty decent little retaining clip right there. You bring it out, and there you have your axe. Now, they claim it was made out of stainless steel, so we don't have to worry about rust, and that it was supposed to be very sharp. As they said, razor sharp. Let's see. And actually it is. Indeed, it is very sharp. And just to warn you, trees will be harmed in the making of this video. First thing we'll do here is I want to take down this tree. It's going to have multi-purposes here, several uses. We'll start with the saw. See how that goes. We'll get these limbs off of here. So my initial thoughts on the hand saw is what it reminds me of is like trying to cut a branch with a really sharp butter knife or a really dull silky saw. I mean, it's functional. The guy can work with it. We can cut with it, but it's not, I don't know what, it's obviously it's sharp. It's sticky sharp when you touch it, but it just isn't, just isn't refined. So the handle is okay. It's very slippery, being that cheap plastic. It's kind of hard to hold on to. A silky or a saw that's got rubber on it is much nicer, much less fatiguing for a guy. As you can see in here, maybe you notice it's really binding bad. When you get a saw that binds bad like that, if you don't have tension or compression on the wood, what that's telling you is that there's no set in the saw, no set in the teeth. The teeth need to be wider. That's why they bend them out wider than the back or the spine of the saw. If you don't do that properly, then the saw drags and it catches in there. It's very sharp. Feels pretty good. Again, typical common problem with like the Fiskers is that slipperiness, but that's should be no surprise there with the plastic handle. If you look here on that last branch I cut, one cut, a nice slice right through it. That's a sharp tool. See if we can repeat that. So I think we're ready to take this tree down. Now, it's not a very big one. It's not near as big as the one we took down with the Combar, but it will suffice for what we need. Now we're going to cut this off high. And I'll show you why here in a minute. We're going to use this as part of our camp setup, so we'll cut this higher than we normally would, and we'll do it just like we would with the most efficient way. If you have an axe and a saw, is to make 3 cuts, 2 cuts with the saw, and 1 cut with the axe. Our first cut here is called the face cut, and we want to go in about a third or so away into the tree. I'm going to go a little less than that because this saw is so poorly made and the set's so bad that I can't get in there too much deeper than that. It is very sharp. Now you see how I'm having a lot of trouble with bind in there? If you get into that, you can relieve some of that with your hatchet. Before we make our fire, we need to build our pot holder so that we can boil our water or cook anything that we're able to trap or to shoot. I'm going to take the large end here. Now what we're going to do, you can do this with a knife or you can do it with your hatchet or axe. We're going to make we're going to try to make a triangle. Take a look at that triangle there now, and if you have any problems with it. Now's the time to make those right. Now for attaching the two. So what we're going to do, if you're familiar with like a dovetail joint that's used in carpentry, like on drawer pulls, the reason why they use dovetails on drawers is because it's a very strong joint. Back in the day before, they had a lot of fasteners and things, and a drawer takes more abuse than anything in a house. It's loaded down with heavy stuff. It's slamming in and out for generations, right? So it's got to be really strong. Once you get that cut all the way to the back, make as many cuts as you can. Just take your knife along the bottom, and you should be able to tap it through there. And it should just sever the back of that. I think that looks pretty close. Well, I apologize for the sun. I'll tell you what, being a videographer, I have developed a strong hatred for the sun. Now I'm just going to use dryer lint. Now if you don't have that, you know, you can use the cotton lining of clothing you have. You could cut the tops of your pockets off your shirt if you have a natural fiber shirt. You know, lots of different things. Pocket lint, you know, whatever you can find. I remember a buddy of mine, he came in from hunting elk one year, and his cuffs were gone and his shirt pockets were gone. He'd cut them off his shirt, and it looked so funny, and we asked him, what in the world did you do? He just said, I forgot to bring toilet paper. Can we get a spark off the back of the... Yep. Boy, look after your tools. Make sure you don't lose something. Losing one element of this whole thing, if you needed it, could be a death sentence. You guys always ask me why the rifle. Neighbor just caught about 125-pound mountain lion on their trail cam. All right, guys, so what did we learn about the Yes for All? Is it a good survival tool for its price point, $17? I think I paid for that on Amazon. Yeah, it's a great little axe, and it came blistering sharp. I mean, way sharper than you're going to get from your Gerber's or your Fisker's axes. You know, so why can't they sharpen their axes, right? The Yes for All can give you a razor sharp axe for that price point, and you get a saw. Although the saw is not a good saw, and it's not a saw I'd recommend. Would I rather have it than no saw? Well, yeah, you better believe it. But I would a better package would be a Fisker's hand hatchet, and a small silky saw. But you're going to pay more, right? So I guess the appealing thing about this is for less than 20 bucks, you can grab this, you can throw it in the back of your truck, you can throw it under your seat, and you've got a fire steel, you've got a hammer, you've got an axe. I mean, for goodness sake, just to be a perfect example, Mrs. W and I just got back from San Francisco for our YouTube deal, and while we were gone, we got a message from one of the neighbor's daughters that was stranded, trapped, because we had a big windstorm and a tree had blown across the road. Well, I mean, yeah, it's going to take a while, right? But you can get through it. A guy can get through a pretty hefty tree with this as sharp as it came, and be on your way, right? How about a car wreck? Could you not chop through a glass window? Could you not chop through some sheet metal with this? Could you not use it for prying, breaking glass? You know, lots of different things. So a guy wants to have some sort of a tool like this at least in your rig. And at under 20 bucks, and you get the fire steel and you get all that stuff. It's a heck of a value. Of course it is, right? And it came sharp. So you don't even have to. I didn't even have to break out ye old sharpening stone. So pretty good little axe. Again, I much prefer the wood handle ones just because You know, I like the heritage of it, but they're easier to hold on to. But there is a place for these too. I mean, they're tough as nails. So that's it. That's my review. Again, I invite you to subscribe if you haven't, and go ahead and click the thumbs up if you enjoy these videos. And I appreciate you guys watching. So keep us in your prayers. May God bless you and your families, and we'll see you guys on the next video.
Donut by some guy who likes donuts.
Where are we?
Here in San Francisco, walking around.
Wait, whispering.
I'm not. My favorite sign so far.